Very good. It is Wednesday. How are you doing? Come on in. Come on in and tell me where you're coming in from. Tell me if you're on the replay. And I really like it if people tell me, like, are you brand new to my content? Put a 1 in the comments if you're brand new. And if you've been around for a while, I think we've said, you know what, just go ahead and put OG in the comments. And then I get to see who's here that has been forever. So we've been doing this show for 2 years, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. I'm in Minnesota. Got a little bit of snow yesterday. And born and raised, I was raised by a type 2 insulin dependent dad who died at 63. And it really did shape the course of my entire life. Like, it's quite amazing how that happens, right? Like, things happen that really they become a catalyst in your universe. And I feel like that's exactly what has happened with me. So I basically was gestational diabetic with my first baby when I was in my early 20s. And then I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. And by the time I was 50, I was a 2X in size. And my mother would not leave me alone about my sugars. God bless her, because I think that had she not, I kind of would have kept living in la la land, if that makes any sense. I really was very aloof to my health. I was like, well, que sera, it's, it's genetic, so whatever. And I just did not think that through very well. So I was just going to show you a picture, but I have to pull it up. So how is everybody doing today? I would love to see how everybody is doing and what's going on in your neck of the woods. That's so crazy. Why is that the way it is? Super interesting. Good morning, Marla. Happy hump day. Good to see you. Hi, Joan. OG, she says, OG. These are the originals, man. I'm telling you, it's really wild how we all get to be we start as strangers and then we become friends. And over time, we kind of get to know each other's stories. And I love it. I love getting to really talk to you guys as much as I do. And in the background, in my messages, and find out kind of what's going on in your life, because then it gives you an opportunity to pray for people and to really want the best for them to turn around. I'm invested in your health turning around. And when you guys tell me you've gotten off of medications, or your A1C has come down, your labs are better, your MRI on your fatty liver, all these things, they matter to me, because I'm collectively, we just get to then buy back our own future, our own ability to make memories and enjoy life. So there you go. Patty, good morning. Well, hello, brand new Cindy. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the Insulin Resistance with Kirsten show. Belinda, nice to meet you. Very, very cool. So that's what we're doing. So Geraldine, Peggy, hi, Peggy. Good to see you. All right, hold on. Why every day I feel like I get on here and then I have to sneeze? What is that? What is that? Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I had to sneeze. It's so good to see you guys. So today, this is exactly what we're going to do. Okay, well, first I'm going to show you my before picture. Okay, so 2X, 50 years old. And you guys, I've never not had a weight problem. I was bribed to lose weight at 11. So it's been my whole life. There are a couple of times that I've lost weight. One was a senior in high school, and I did it very unhealthily. I won't go into that. And then I kind of did okay with that for a little while. And because then, I wanted to maintain some of that weight loss, not all of it, but some of it, until I got married at 22. But then I had babies and 60 pounds first baby, it was crazy. Anyway, gestational diabetic, all the things. He was almost 10 pounds. And then I lost weight again when I was around 30. Now, I knew nothing about insulin resistance. I knew nothing about that connection. I knew nothing about any of this. Even though I had been gestational diabetic, I knew nothing. And then after that, forget it. Game over. 6 months into my losing weight at 30, my dad died. And I just kind of I don't know. I just didn't pay any attention anymore until 20 years later. So there's hope for you. Do not feel like you do not have hope. You have hope. And then my mother in my 40s was like, what are you doing? Like, do you even go to the doctor? Like, what's going on? Do you know what your sugars are? Like, what's wrong? And I was too chicken, but then I did have surgery when I was 50. I had shoulder surgery and things like that. And I was diagnosed pre-diabetic. And I'm like, well, I just thought it was genetic and there wasn't anything I could do. But then I found people like Maria Emmerich and Dr. Ken Berry and the people that I talked to you guys about. And understanding the connection, I was able to actually lose my 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped, which is like, that goes against what we would think, right? But it's an insulin conversation, you guys. It's not a calorie in, calorie out conversation. So that's what I talked to you guys about. Joan, you're amazing. Good morning, Jackie. Good to see you. Good to see you. Linda, good afternoon. Good to see you. Okay, man, the whole party is here. So today what I want to do is I want to then take some of that thought process, right? And we're going to talk today specifically about why your gut. Okay, now you know that insulin resistance is a big part of this, but why your gut and your insulin resistance makes it so that you have a harder time burning fat. And it's like, if we will reverse engineer what's actually happening, if we will go root cause, which is what we do here, we talk about root cause, that makes all the difference in the world. Let's see if I have any housekeeping before I kind of get started in content. I think I'm pretty good. If you are a brand new, if you've been stalking for a little bit and you're like, I want to be a brand new, we'll get to this a little later, Total Body Reset customer, during the lives, when people do order the Total Body Reset, when I'm on live, I am shipping out a free product. I'll explain that to you here in just a few minutes. Some of you know from previous days, so that's why I'm saying that. And you can always go to my website, kirstenliebelt.com, and you can find the Total Body Reset, etc. But that supply is dwindling. I'm shipping out 2 more today, so I'm just letting you know, like, that supply is dwindling, and they're going to reformulate, and so I stocked up a tiny bit. All right, here we go. And if you have any questions while we're talking, please ask your questions. Like, this is meant for you guys to be able to have better understanding and walk away with like, oh, okay, I think that makes more sense to me. And that's why I should support the systems that are creating the issues. So if your systems are like fritzing out, and therefore your results are not what you want, whether it's meds, high blood pressure, digestive issues, belly fat, anxiety, depression, whatever it is, then if you support the system in the opposite direction, it would say, you would think then, which is true, that your results are going to be different. Your body's going to deliver you a different result. That is what happens, and y'all are my testimonies of it. So here we go. All right, so insulin resistance and leaky gut, it's kind of like a hidden connection. And people need to understand this because we keep going to different doctors for different questions and getting different scripts from the different doctors, and it's all siloed. You know what a silo is? Like on a farm. I think everybody knows what a silo is. You have a silo and it's filled with grain. Well, it's like, here's one doctor with one silo conversation. Maybe it's an endocrinologist. And then you have another doctor with another silo, and it's your OBGYN talking to you about your hormones. And you have another doctor, and it's your primary, and that's another silo. And then you have another doctor, and it's your heart doctor, because now you have high blood pressure, cardiovascular, whatever. And then you have another doctor, and it just goes on and on and on and on, right? And it's like, this is all connected. So let's have this conversation. And the root of the tree, in my opinion, like to the best of my understanding from the studies that I've been doing over the last, whatever, I don't even know, decade, insulin resistance is the root of the tree. It's the trunk of the tree that creates all the other issues. So let's make this a lot more streamlined in conversation. And what happens then is when you guys do this, you get off of the meds and the indigestion goes away and the weight starts to come off, because you can finally burn fat again, because you can't burn fat if you have high insulin or a sluggish liver. You get my drift, right? So this is just kind of how this goes now. So The there is a connection between your gut, your insulin resistance, and your stubborn fat. Okay, so there's that connection that all goes together. Hold on just a second. I wanted to find one specific. Okay, so most women think that their gut problems are about food sensitivities. How many of you have maybe thought that, well, I just can't eat dairy anymore. I just can't eat gluten anymore, which might be true for a season for sure. Like it's a real thing, but they think it's all only about food sensitivities. But what if the real issue is like something a little bit deeper? So we're going to go a little bit deeper today. What if insulin resistance is actually damaging your gut lining? Like then what, right? It's creating inflammation, bloating, your inability to burn fat. Like this is like frustrating 101 for us. We feel like we're on this hamster wheel, right? So today what I want to show you is how the gut, the liver, and your insulin they're all literally connected, and why fixing just one piece never works. You kind of have to work in concert. Okay. It's like there's this flow going on inside of your system. Okay. So your stomach acid is supposed to, this is going to really be interesting for those of you who are, I need to look up, I'm going to look it up right now because I know I say it wrong. Who is on omeprazole? That's the way I say it, but I'm going to type it in and see how it's actually pronounced. Let's see. Omeprazole. Okay, so it is. Okay, I kept thinking that maybe I was saying it wrong and that maybe it was supposed to be omeprazole. But no, it's yes, see, I am saying it wrong. Wow. Omeprazole. I've been saying omeprazole. Doesn't matter. Omeprazole. Okay, wow. It doesn't sound right in my head. So that is an over-the-counter medication for antacids, right? And there are many of you now that have gotten off of that because of how we talk about like the total body reset and promoting, helping your system in that way. That's a really big deal because you don't want to be on that forever. But I think that the conversation is upside down. So let's do this and let's see if this doesn't right side the ship for some of you, okay? Just in your understanding of like, what is going on with the acid in your stomach and why are we trying to get that acid down? And is that really the thought process that is proper? So your stomach acid is supposed to, like it's there for a reason, right? It's supposed to sterilize your food. I didn't even know that, right? Break down your protein, activate your digestive enzymes, and signal bile from your liver and your gallbladder. Now, some of you are like, but I don't have a gallbladder. I know. So then even the more reason for you to just hang out here for a half a minute while we kind of go through this, because your liver is now doing double duty backup, right? That's how that goes. So let's do that. So if your stomach acid is low, food doesn't break down properly, it actually ferments and then you end up with bacteria overgrowth. So that's not what you want. So that's if your stomach acid is low. That leads to, this is where you guys, it's like, this is me, bloating, gas, indigestion, bacterial imbalance. This is because your stomach acid is low. It's not breaking down things. It's not triggering those digestive enzymes. It's not sterilizing your food. You don't have enough in there to break down that protein and do the things that you're supposed to do. And this is the opposite mindset of what we have been led to believe, right? So this is what's so frustrating. So undigested proteins can irritate your gut lining. And when that gut lining becomes inflamed, the tight junction opens. So maybe there has to be a visual. And a lot of this information, by the way, I was reading stuff from Dr. Jockers. So if you don't know who Dr. Jockers is, this is what triggered this whole conversation because I know so many of you have gut issues. We walk around like it's just normal. Well, I'm so loaded. Well, so am I. I'm, whatever. I'm so uncomfortable. Well, so am I. I'm taking over the counter antacids. Well, so am I. We just think this is all normal and we're not seeing it as the red flags that it actually is, right? Okay. So But that tight junction opens, and that is what we call leaky gut. Okay. But this is the problem. So your gut lining is supposed to act like a cheesecloth filter. Does everybody know what a cheesecloth is? Like if you were to make your own, is it like mozzarella if you're making your own cheese or whatever? Well, cheesecloth. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, and you're trying to get the liquids to go through. You put it in a cheesecloth and you squeeze it really tight, and all that extra liquid comes through. Well, that's what your gut lining is supposed to act like for you. And small nutrients pass through, but bigger particles are supposed to stay inside of the gut. When the lining becomes damaged, this is where we have these issues, ladies. And this is why it's like core conversation, root cause issue. We got to get to the core of what we're talking about so that you can actually support that system from the base. Okay. So when the lining becomes damaged, bacteria, toxins, food particles, they can all leak into your bloodstream. Like, this is no bueno. This is not what we want, right? So when that happens, the immune system goes literally like on high alert. And this creates systemic inflammation. And that inflammation shows up as, here you go, here's your list of symptoms. Because we're all the same. Fatigue, brain fog, skin issues, hormone problems, autoimmune reactions, like, here we go, right? That's the symptoms that we live with, that we accept as normal. And I really do believe that there was a huge part of me that I think that watching my dad's progression in his 50s of his type 2 diabetes just getting worse and worse and worse, and his meds going up and up and up, and his function really decreasing. Like I've mentioned it before, how he was a business owner in Minneapolis, and he would wake up and he'd have to give himself shots of insulin, but then he'd have his Lazy Susan full of medication, and he would take his meds and his insulin, and then, eat really bad food, like Cheerios with skim milk and just really sugar spiking. And his body, everything would fight inside of him for function. And he wasn't even safe to drive. So he would sit at home. We lived in a suburb. They were still living in my house that I grew up in since I was 4 years old, until my mother was like 90. And so he would sit at the table and he would make his phone calls to his employees in his business, because he couldn't get on the road and drive. So his function was way down. So when I talk about like that brain fog and the fatigue and the this and the that and the what and all the stuff that we're dealing with, and you know what, there was somebody that I got on the phone with yesterday after this session that we did yesterday, and she just said, everything you explained, everything you described, that's me. But I want to have a life of function. I want to have a life that, that I have enough energy to keep up with my grandbabies. And because for me, that's like my thing, right? That's my hot button is I want to be available for my grandbabies. I don't want to be too tired. I don't want to be brain fog. I don't want to be, Nona that can't remember anything and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that. I want to have energy. I want to be like, we're going to Disney World and I'm going to keep up with you. That's what I want to do. I'm 61 right now, but I'm just saying, like, this is how I want to live my life. So all of those symptoms that we just learned to live with, I watched it happen with my dad. And I feel like it really did impact me. So when I got into my 50s, I'm like, dang, we have to do this differently. Like, I don't want to be this dysfunctional, feeling like trash Nona. I mean, he was this really eccentric, fun Italian grandpa. And my kids were 6, 3, and 6 months old, and he was gone. All because of type 2. Not even cancer. Not even anything terminal. Gone. Like, this is so dumb. That's why I get super passionate about it. Susan says, good morning. I know you said that a long time ago, Susan. That's hilarious. It's a beautiful sunny day in New York. Feels like spring is coming. Woohoo! We like that, Susan. We like that a lot. Patty, heartburn. Yep. I know. That has been so the conversation with you, hasn't it? I know. And it's just not fun. It's so not fun. Okay. Cindy, I don't know if I said hi, but I think I might have. So there you go. See, I need to not have brain fog. I'm just kidding. I don't feel brain foggy today at all. I'm just kidding. Okay, so insulin resistance connection. This is kind of where I want you guys to like just listen up, perk up your ears just a tiny bit more on this section, right? So chronic high insulin does 3 major things to your gut. And if you don't know what that means, and I have people ask me to explain this all the time, because there is this, because our doctors are not explaining insulin to us and how this all works. We're only ever looking over here at the blood sugars. We're only ever over here looking at our A1C, which it's all important, but long before your A1C rose, long before your sugars rose over here in your blood, over here was your insulin, your hormone insulin. And that is being released in order to grab your glucose and take it into your cells. And then when you're resistant, your cell is closed down and it can't do that. So your insulin just gets higher and higher and higher because your pancreas is releasing more and more because it's like, well, I got to do my job. My job is to get fuel into the cell. So I must not be, releasing enough. I need to release more. And it just gets higher and higher and higher. And then we are living with, we're eating foods that are spiking our sugars. We're not getting sleep. We are stressed out. We are all of these things that are raising our insulin higher and higher and higher. Okay. But what you have to understand is that with that high insulin comes consequence. Okay. Consequence from having high insulin all day long. Maybe you're snacking every hour and a half to 2 hours, higher insulin. Maybe you're eating grain. Maybe grain is still a part of your diet, high insulin. Maybe you are very stressed out. You are like in fight or flight mode because you have a stressful job or you're taking care of a dementia parent, high insulin. There's so many reasons, okay? So high insulin does these 3 things. It feeds bad bacteria, number 1. So insulin resistance usually comes with high sugar intake, high refined carbs, and processed foods. And I don't care if they're keto. That doesn't matter. Okay. Those foods feed harmful gut bacteria and yeast. This is called gut dysbiosis. Gut dysbiosis. Number 2, high insulin increases gut inflammation. When insulin stays elevated, inflammatory cytokines rise, intestinal permeability increases, meaning that your high insulin literally weakens your gut barrier. It's like it starts to break down, okay? So research has shown that metabolic dysfunction increases gut permeability. So in many people, insulin resistance is equaling leaky gut. Okay, it's not the other way around. It's not your leaky gut influencing your insulin resistance. It's actually being caused by it. Number 3, the last one on that is insulin resistance slows your bile flow. So this is why I talk to you guys about your liver all the time, and especially if you don't have a gallbladder. When your liver is overwhelmed, your bile flow slows down, okay? Your fat digestion weakens, and your microbes overgrow in the small intestine. So now you end up with SIBO, bloating, reflux, constipation, and this is like super frustrating. It's like your gut starts to break down. These things start to stack up on you. You're like, oh my gosh, chronic stress and inflammatory diet, and you've got poor bile flow, and you've got low stomach acid, and you're on medications, you're on antacids, you're on antibiotics, you've got gut infections, you've got poor sleep, you've got all these things happening, and you're like, what is happening? I feel like my body is breaking down. And it's like, maybe there is a way that we can like turn this back around, right? So when I talk to you guys about like the total body reset, it's very specific. I know it can sound like maybe because you're only ever going to hear about it from me. Like, because this is how I sourced for my own life. I'm like, I have to figure out how to get my insulin down, how to get my liver to function, how to get my gut to work. I've got to figure out how to deal with, you know, like so many of you are like, I know that I already have a fatty liver. I already know that I have a, well, then you know automatically that if your liver is overwhelmed, then your bile flow slows, your fat digestion weakens, your microbes overgrow in the small intestine, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I have sebum loaded all the time. My reflux is like, oh, it's so terrible. You're constipated. You've got all these issues. So come at everything. It's like, if you have all of these silos in your doctor's conversation, all these different doctors and all their different silos that give you a different med, each one, a different conversation, a different med, a different conversation, a different med. That's how I view what happened to my dad. I viewed his lazy Susan filled with this doctor gave him this med, this doctor gave him this med, this doctor, it was just crazy. And then he was still dead at 63. Like, what's the point then, right? Instead, how about we just receive the understanding, contrary to Western medicine, that everything is connected and God made your body to fight for function. Everything is affecting everything else. It's like, it's a constant domino effect inside of your body. So that's why when I talk about the total body reset, it's like, get your gut to actually start to bring down that inflammation, to actually start to create flow in your system. We have to get that bile to flow, whether you have a gallbladder or not. We've got to get that bile to thin out so that you can stop having all of these issues. You can get that inflammation down on the inside of your gut, and all of a sudden you change your nutrient absorption ability. Game on. All of a sudden your body, it's kind of like comes to life. It's like putting a new battery in your body. That's how I visualize that. It's like, bring, and your body can do the things it's supposed to do. And that's why you guys are like, wow, like I'm sleeping better and I've got better energy. And does it happen overnight? Well, no, of course not. And that's silly. We're kind of silly, aren't we? Like, by the time I dealt with my sugars, you guys, it was 30 years. 30 years of trashing my body. 30 years of highly refined processed foods and a lot of over-the-counter ibuprofen. And, you know, I wasn't on a lot of meds, but some of you are. You have a lot of meds going on, a lot of prescription, and your body is like overwhelmed. It's just overwhelmed. And this is why this can be so challenging, right? But this is where people end up with hair thinning. You end up with food sensitivities. You end up with iron deficiencies, fatigue, reflux, gas, bloating. Like, this is what's happening inside of your entire system. But you can remove some of those triggers. You can remove sugars. You can remove grains. You can remove inflammatory oils. And you know how it is when I do the 5-day challenge inside of the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And I talk about food ingredient trade outs. And I talk about how I view a pantry. Get rid of the seed oils. Ditch the grains. Like, you've got gut issues. I'm sorry. In my opinion, telling me that you're gluten-free literally means nothing. I'm sure that it does. I'm sure that it actually does, and I haven't done my studies. But to me, it's just another marketing ploy to keep you eating grain. It's like, just stop the grain. Stop it. Stop all of the corn syrup in everything. Stop the oats. Stop the wheat. Stop the grain. Stop the things that are inflaming your gut further. And also then raising your sugars and calling on insulin and keeping your insulin high, and then and then it goes domino, right? So cut out the sugars, cut out the grains, cut out the inflammatory oils and the processed foods. And I don't care if they are keto and it says keto bread. Stop. Because they're just lying to you. They're just marketing to you, right? But this is why we teach ingredient trade outs. Restore your digestion, get your digestion under control. I'll go through this for you here because I want to talk to you about the whole gut primer thing, right? So support your digestion. I have to make sure I didn't mess up with I did not. Okay. I thought maybe I messed up with my microphone. Support your stomach acid, your bioflow, your digestive system. Like this is where you've got to deal with your liver. And guess what? The total body reset is all about. Half of it is for your liver. Get your liver going, get your liver flowing again, because all of a sudden then the rest of your body like begins to align. It begins to like line up. And you can repair the gut lining. You can actually repair it. I mean, isn't that an amazing concept? That we don't have to live with, okay, if your cheesecloth has now been torn, if the lining of your gut, the cheesecloth that's supposed to let nutrients through, but keep back in bacteria and big food particles, and all of a sudden there's this hole in your cheesecloth and things are going through into your bloodstream that aren't supposed to. What if you can actually bring it back down? What if you can actually repair your gut lining, bring down that inflammation, and all of a sudden now your nutrients are not, everything's not just going out, it's all actually getting absorbed, like a flood of nutrition. What would that feel like? Patty, I know we're used to instantaneous. I know we are. We are instantaneous, and it's just, you know what? It's all of us. It's not just me, and it's not just you. It's all of us, and we've been conditioned that way. And we've been conditioned that way probably since the microwave. Like, let's be realistic. We want things to be instant, and we want things to not require a journey. And I will tell you, so even in business now, I've really learned how to embrace a journey and how to embrace, because, things will take, X amount of, it takes time to build a business. Most businesses go under within, 2 to 5 years, they go completely under. You at least have to have a 2 to 5 year thought process to build anything at minimum. Like that's just normal. But everything else in our life, whether we're building a marriage or we're building our health or we're doing, for some reason, we want things to be, you enter and you hit honeymoon stage and you stay there. And it's like, that's not realistic. I've been married for 38 years. I know that it takes intentionality to stay the course in a marriage and to build it and to actually get to the other side of the harder parts, so I'm just saying. So there we go. Sue, good to see you. You had to get the 1/2 inches of ice off your car. Oh, I'm sorry. She's in Posen, Michigan. That your husband used your car yesterday and didn't get it put in the garage. I'm sorry. Happy Wednesday, Shannon. Jackie, question about buckwheat. It's a seed, gluten-free. How do I feel about it? It's high in carbohydrates. Look up the carbohydrates for how much per cup. This is the issue. So I get it. Listen, I don't think God made bad food. I don't think he did. I think we put ourselves into a position where if we're trying to turn back our insulin resistance, we have to stop what got us into the pickle to begin with. Now, I understand eating buckwheat didn't make somebody get into that position, but it keeps us in that cycle of high sugars and calling on insulin all the time. And when we're trying to get out of that land, and some of you are in more of a pickle than others, some of you you're really like, this journey is way longer than I wanted it to be. Some of you are fast. Some of you are like, listen, I'm really close to my goal weight. I've only got like, whatever. I've already been working on my goals. I've already gotten, and then all of a sudden, this happens quite a bit, actually, to be really honest, where somebody will come and they'll say, I got this far with my doctor and now I'm stalled and I need to whatever. And I just had that testimony where they said they got their A1C down to a certain spot and they were losing weight up until last September. And then she was like, brick wall, brick wall, brick wall. And then she started the total body reset in January and it was like, bam. And she was like, oh, okay, here we go. My body's working again. And that gets you very excited, right? So anyway, that's kind of what I think about that then, because it's like, we can do anything we want, but if we want to slow the process, we'll continue to eat things that are high in carbohydrates, but it keeps us in that system. So when I started to do supplementation, and like I said, I was a 2X in size. In fact, I'm just going to put information on here because, hold on, right? I think I took it off the ticker because people said they couldn't see it. So that's what we'll do for right now. I can always change things. But here, this is a good picture of me, a good before picture of me. I need to get to my storage unit and find more pictures, okay? But that was me, 2X, a little over 10 years ago. And remember at the beginning of this live, I was talking to you about how there were a couple of times in my life that I lost a few pounds. I looked good. Both of those times, I did it very unhealthily. One was I was a senior in high school and I was using, I shouldn't really be talking about this, but that's when we were, doing things that were like, because you just wanted to speed up your metabolism, wink, wink, if you know what I mean. And so it was very unhealthy. And then the second time I did it, it was a major calorie deficit. And that didn't stick at all because I didn't deal with the system. I didn't deal with what was going on. And then in my 30s, I tried again, like just by using over-the-counter speed, which was Metabolife. And that never really did anything. I mean, I didn't stick with it long enough and I wasn't dealing with my food at all. So it wasn't until I started to make the connection of if you have high insulin and a sluggish liver, you're never going to burn fat and you've got to deal with your inner system. So when I started with these three right here, basically helping with liver, insulin, sugars, and metabolism. And notice how one of these is for your liver, okay? So the Total Body Reset has 6 pieces in it. If you want to see the 9-minute video where I explain this in more detail, you can always put TBR in the comments. And if you don't receive something automatically, I will make sure that I see it later because it depends on what platform you're on. But TBR will get you the Total Body Reset. I have a 9-minute video. But basically, I started really with my fingers crossed. I took these 3, crossed my fingers and went, what do I have to lose? I'm not going to change up my foods anyway. So I'm Italian. I'm just going to, just like I did in my 30s, I'm taking Metabolife. I'm just going to take some supplements. Like, why not? And I did not know that I was actually supporting systems. I didn't completely understand that. This is where I just was, a little over 10 years ago. But I started here. And then the other 3 pieces to the Total Body Reset are 3 powders, 2 of which are for your liver. This is why I talk about this all the time, because if women would understand that they need to focus on their liver and their gut so much, they would change the way their body is clearing insulin. They would change the way that their body is bringing down their insulin. They would change the way that their gut was like starting to heal and seal, like you're supporting the healing and the sealing of your gut. All of a sudden, your body starts to hold on to nutrients. And it's basic conversation, right? So the gut primer, and I was saying in my stories today, I'm going to Orlando tomorrow after our live tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow. That'll be our last live for the week because I'll be off on Friday. I'll be going to the airport, the Minneapolis airport tomorrow after our live. And recently I had taken my gut primer, put it in a glass jar, and I took it through TSA. Don't do that. Put that in your checked baggage because I think they thought I was a drug lord or something. I really do. They swabbed the crap out of all my backpack, my jars, everything. It was a very intense moment. Anyway, so this is 6 different blends already done for you. You don't have to go and source, oh, I need these digestive enzymes. I need this prebiotic. I need this postbiotic. I need these fermented greens. I want, I want the proper fiber. I want the proper, like antioxidants with the fruits and the vegetables. And oh, by the way, I want it to be all off of organic farms. Like that's ridiculous. Nobody's going to do that. But you can do it through having a gut primer like this. And this will support your liver, because your liver produces bile that goes into your gallbladder. So if you have your gallbladder, it releases it as you eat in proper fashion. If you don't have a gallbladder, you need to listen twice as much, because now your liver is really taking the brunt of creating the bile. And then now it doesn't have a storage tank. And that bile can get sluggish and slow, and your flow is just it's not working for you, right? Okay. So I just put this in cold water, and I take it like a wellness shot every morning. I already did mine today. Here we go. And tastes green tea-esque. It's very just earthy. Okay. So it's not chocolate or anything like that. So that's the gut primer. So we already did these 3, and this one is for the liver. This is for the liver. Probiotic, because if you do not recalibrate, you have to put back bacteria. Think about everything we just said about how you have bacteria overgrowth. People have SIBO. People have you've got bacteria going into your bloodstream. You've got all sorts of things happening when you have leaky gut. It's a mess. So putting back live, this is a powder, you just put it on your tongue. Live strains, 5 of them, right onto your tongue, into your gut, actually has, this is crazy, but it actually has a scientifically proven stick to the gut technology. So first they guarantee that it will stay alive, and then they say it will stick to your gut, and you want that. You want that. And then the last one is the orange pixie stick. This is for your visceral fat. So this is the one that tastes like orange pixie stick. It tastes like candy, and I just put it on my tongue. But what I think most women don't understand is that we always talk about our muffin tops. We talk about our back fat. We talk about, maybe we have, people say fupa, or they'll say apron belly, or they'll say, I'm trying to think of the other terminologies that I've really heard a lot. Maybe you've had a C-section. And so an older one, the newer ones, I've never had one. But I'm just saying, my mom did she have a C-section? She did not. She had her gallbladder removed. This is so telling, in her 40s. She should have, anyway, I'm not going to go down that road yet, but that's when they did really, because she died at 94. So this is a long time ago. And that was a very large scar up and down her belly. So we're always talking about what we can see and squeeze and poke at, but it's the fat that's underneath that's the issue, because that is very inflammatory, very emitting hormones. So people are like, I have fatty liver. Yep. Visceral fat. My belly is growing and it's hard. Yep. Visceral fat, not the squishy stuff. Way down underneath, because that's what insulin resistance does. It lays down the fat around your organs, around your intestines, your liver, and you got to deal with it, because this is not a good path. Fatty liver is not a good sign of anything, right? So good morning, Sharon from Canada. Good to see you. You're tuning in late. You're listening to the replay. Thank you, Sharon. Good info. Yep, made it for part of the live, Terry. Good to see you. Barbara, perfect TBR. Sandra, perfect TBR. Tammy, very good. And what I'll do is I'll check and see if you got because okay, so it's if you're on my Facebook personal page, you're probably not getting an auto response. But if you're on my business page, you probably are getting an auto response. And if you're on Instagram, you will get it's just different platforms do different things. So I apologize. Technology is a little goofy sometimes. It's just the way that it is. But I will get off and make sure that everybody gets the information that they're looking for, okay? Because I want people to just be able to have, knowledge is helpful. How important is using the green drink in the reset, Robin? It actually is. Hold on. So tell me what your issue is, Robin. Is it the taste, or is it, because I think I've chatted with you about this. Because maybe I can give you tips on that. So Shannon doesn't use a microwave anymore. Mm-hmm. It's so smart. It's so smart. It is. Because, because this is what I'll tell you. So some people are like, and you're not the only one. If your gut is pretty messed up, and you do a full scoop, you might be like, whoa, that was too much for me. Like my digestive system kind of went, whoo, so then just do half a scoop and then do a half a scoop later. Like break things up, be nice to your system, help your system rise up and begin to function again, because it's maybe been a while. And that's just the way that this goes. I've helped people with this for a long time. It makes your intestines feel sore. And is that even with a half a scoop, Robin? I would just like to know. She says, I know it's weird. Everybody's different. It's interesting because I have somebody that has short gut syndrome, and she was very, very concerned. She was like, oh, do I even try this? Like, her life was already not the way that she wanted it, with just diarrhea all day long and whatever her symptoms were with short gut syndrome. And she's like, ugh, it's been years. And so she very much tiptoed into the gut primer conversation and turned out to be like the best thing she ever did. But she was also very pensive. And so there are people that have different situations that are going on. And, the other half of that conversation is, how do you feel when you take the probiotic? Because that should be repopulating your good bacteria and helping to offset some of that. You do a whole. Robin, I would say take a half a scoop. I would go with a half, and let's see how that makes you feel. And if you're like, oh, yeah, like my body can handle that, then take a half a scoop later in the day. That's what I would do. I would go half and half. I mean, I know they say take one scoop at the beginning of the day, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But there is also something to be said for really getting your body to like receive the help that it needs. And I will say that my daughter, do I have her picture available? So what she did one day was, now my daughter's 34, and she really had quite the, she kind of pigged out for the weekend, and she would admit that. She kind of pigged out for the weekend, and she was super bloated. And so she took pictures and she gave me this testimony, and she said, Mom, my tummy wasn't even, she took it at night because she was so bloated before bed. And this is what her picture looks like. I'll show it to you each individually. Hold on. So right here, I'm going to show Instagram first. And actually Instagram, it's at the top of my Instagram page. You can go look at, there's a highlight bubble that says gut primer on it. I always forget to tell you guys this. On the top of Instagram, you're going to see all sorts of testimonies, okay? But you can see how bloated she was and then how flat she was. That was the next morning. So she took a scoop at night before bed, and that's what happened to her. But she said, Mom, that the bloating, I still wasn't even completely down. That's how much it helped me. And I still had, you know what I'm saying? She's like, that's amazing. And I would agree. I was like, you are very brave. We did talk at length, Robin. See, I knew this. I knew it. You measured again today and you've lost. Okay. Are you freaking kidding me? Robin. Okay. I'm going to put that. Yeah, try that. I'm going to put your comment up. You guys, okay, so this is Robin. Everybody listen up before you scroll. All right, so I know. Thank you, Robin, for being patient with me. So she measured again today. She's lost 14.75 inches in 5 weeks on the total body reset. So that tells me that you've lost a lot of bloating, you've lost a lot of inflammation. And I'm assuming that your inches are, when I tell you guys to measure, okay? And don't forget, no, I need to not forget to tell you, if you're purchasing the Total Body Reset while I'm live off my website, kirstenliebelt.com, which I can show Instagram, I am sending a free glucose product. You're going to get one in your Total Body Reset, but I'm going to send you a backup because they're pulling it in April to reformulate it. And I want you to have a backup. So I purchased inventory. It is dwindling, but I still have some left. And I will mail it out to you for free. That's just what I'm doing because I just do stuff like this for you guys. Okay. So get yourself a fabric measuring tape. Measure under your boob, measure your waist, measure your hips. This is the trunk area. Okay, that's your trunk. That's called visceral fat. That's your visceral fat. The visceral fat is not on the inside of your knees. It's not on your arms right here. It's not, whatever. It's not your saddlebags. That's not your visceral fat. Your visceral fat is from underneath your boob down to the top of your hips in my best understanding, right? Because I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV. I'm joking. I don't. But I'm saying if you will measure, you will be so encouraged. You'll be so encouraged. Number one, yes, you're not losing all of these inches of fat right away. But hello, raise your hand if you think that losing inflammation and bloat is bad. Like that's the beginning of it. But then number two, when you finally do lose your weight, don't you want to actually burn fat? Visceral fat. Isn't that what your goal is? If you say, no, I just want to lose weight. It's only about the number on the scale. I don't care if I'm losing muscle. I don't care if I'm losing water. I don't care if I'm losing inflammation. I don't care. I just want to lose weight. Doesn't matter what it looks like to me. No. You actually want fat to burn. You actually want that because then that's how I can say, I lost 3 sizes in my 50s and I've kept them off. This is the first time in my entire life. Literally my entire life, I was bribed to lose weight at 11 years old, right? Italian, lots of food, ate tons of ice cream, insulin resistant, didn't know it, gestational diabetic with my first baby. Most women just have no idea the connection between your liver and your insulin and actually being able to finally turn back on a fat burning switch. And when you turn on a fat burning switch, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm going to finally get long-term results. Boom. Wow. It's not a Band-Aid anymore. It's not a quick fix. No, you have to give yourself permission for the journey. So hold on. I know Terry says, yay, Robin, 14.75 inches. Boy, that makes me happy. And I'm just now tweaking my food and carb intake. Are you serious, Robin? I'm so happy for you, Robin. Yeah, split up your gut primer. Go half and half. See if that feels better for you. Obviously, your body is responding really well to inflammation coming down, to flow beginning, to your bile flow going, but I'm telling you, this is going to serve you so well, Robin. So this is the other thing. When you're on the total body reset, this is a thermogenic, this little pixie stick. I pulled it. I sourced all of this stuff. This is me sourcing this stuff for me and then sharing it with you. This is not some company created a program and now marketing it to you. This is Kirsten 101. This is what I did. You might want to do what I did. I lost 3 sizes and kept it off. You might want what I have. You might want to do the same thing. You know, Terry's on here. Terry lost 50 pounds. She's kept it off for over a year now. I'm just saying, like, this is a long-term thought process. Give yourself permission for the journey. The fat burner is a thermogenic. So there's this little fire emoji right here. Do you see the fire emoji right there? It's a clinical dose of an extract. And remember yesterday we talked about extracts and making sure that when you are looking at a company and you are looking at the quality of something, you do not want tainted extracts. You do not want that. Do not make your liver work harder than it already is working. Stop it. So many things that are being created and being put by the pharmaceutical aisle in your drugstore, they're being made by the pharma companies. Like, anyway, all I'm going to say. Make sure somebody has really high standards and farming practices. But anyway, so a clinical dose of an extract, right? That's a fat burner. What this means is it targets the visceral fat. Like they've proven this. They studied it for over a year. They've proven it. You guys have proven it to me, because like an MRI that goes from a bad fatty liver to a mild fatty liver, a visceral, fat scans, all the things. But you don't want your body to get used to this little orange yumminess. So take 30 days off and then go back on 90 days again for this one. And so many of you are like, Robin, I can't wait to see where you are in 6 months, in a year. Like, where will you be? Where will your body be? And the conversation is also that when you do order the total body reset, register as a customer. Don't check out as a guest, because once you give yourself permission for that journey, there's this cash off conversation. And what that means is when you purchase $150 or more 3 months in a row, on the third month, you get $75 erased. So let's say you start in March and then you do April and then you do May. Well, in May, they're going to take $75 off that order. You don't have to have a code or a discount, anything. It's not Kirsten Scooby-Doo. It's nothing. They will erase it for you. And now you get to just sit and take your journey and go 90-day rounds and commit to your journey, get paid for your own universe, get paid back, and then like feel like you finally have keys to your wellness, keys to the actual getting your body to produce a different result for you. Finally. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. That sounds great. Shannon says, fantastic, Robin. You guys are all very encouraging. I love that so much. Use that and you love it. Is that what they're discontinuing? No. So thank you for asking that, Robin. Let me share with you. Robin, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing, Marla says. Susan says, way to go. You guys are awesome. Kirsten, I need to reorder today the total reset. Is there a quick way to do it? Shannon, I will get off and I will send you the cart. I'll send you the total body reset cart, and that is the fastest way. You'll just sign in, add everything to your cart, checkout. God, this is just amazing. I love you guys for sharing your testimonies. This is not the one they're discontinuing. Okay, this is not. When you look at the total body reset, this one right here, I'll hold it up kind of like next to my red. You can see it. This is a capsule that helps you with your insulin and your sugars. It's actually a formula. I love this formula, but they're going to reformulate it. They're going to do it even better. It's actually a 30-year-old formula, which just is really a kicker to me, because that means that they were way ahead of the curve. They were way ahead of the game. So if I love this now and it's a 30-year-old formula, what are they going to reformulate to, right? That's the question. Now, there are two things you need to know about this. So they're going to, in April, they're going to discontinue it, okay? That's why if you're brand new ordering the total body reset while I'm on live, I'm going to send you an extra bottle. Extra, read all about it. I'm going to send you an extra bottle because I want you to have a backup. The other piece of this puzzle is when they take this away, okay, I have been testing, and I've done this before for you guys with magnesium, but I have been testing different products from different lines. I'm pretty sure that the one that I'm testing right now is the one I'm going to give you guys, and it is going to be a complimentary trace mineral blend. There were certain things that I required to see inside of a supplement that I wanted for you guys. Anyway, then it'll be off of Amazon. It will be a few dollars more, not by much. Like this is 26. I think it's going to be 31, I think is what it's either 31 or 31.99 or something like that. So you can do one or two things. You can either stock up. If you're a current customer, you can add extra. I had somebody do that yesterday. You can add extra, get them. Some of them are like, I've got 6 months supply. Perfect. Keep it in your cupboard. It'll bad on you. And it's, I'd rather have my audience and my customers dwindling the inventory at the warehouse. I'd rather have you guys get your hands on it and have that backup. But I will have something available to you. I will not leave you in a lurch. I will not leave you without an option. On the West Coast, it's already gone. It's already gone, I believe. At least it is for some of my people that are telling me this. And so you either have a supply and you're on the West Coast and you're good, or like somebody today, they're buying a couple bottles off of me and I'm going to ship them out. She'll just pay me like Venmo type thing. Anyway, so I just want you to know that universe, like we're navigating this and it's really not that big of a deal, but I'm an over explainer because I don't want anybody to have confusion about stuff. It's like the part of me, like, if you have a confused mind, you're going to do nothing. And I'm like, ah. So anyway, here we go. So Shannon says yesterday she added one more of the glucose health. Then I had to take the gut primer powder at a third of it a day. You just got plugged up. Interesting. From the gut primer, Shannon? Because that's like the opposite. Do you take it with food? Linda, really good question. Thank you. So do you mean the glucose health? Is that the one you mean, Linda? I think that is. So this is what they'll say in the bottle with this one. This is kind of like, this really helps. There was my marker. This helps with so many different things, but this one they'll say on the bottle, take 30 to 45 minutes before you eat. They're trying to help you with your appetite. So that's a great thing to do, but there's a lot of us that really we're not that regulated in our systems, in our routines and in our habits. So we're like, oh no, I forgot. It's okay. Just as soon as you remember, take it when you're eating. If you take it after you eat, whatever, you're trying to tamp down your sugars and your insulin with this particular one. You're trying to go, just don't have so much effect right now. Just simmer down. That's kind of what you're doing. And there are some people that I've had a friend, she kind of started it, and now some of you do it where instead of taking one of them 3 times a day, you're taking 2 of them 3 times a day. I really think that it matters just more because they're trace minerals. So this is not like you're going to OD on vitamin A or something. These are just trace minerals that your body is missing because we have poor soil. We have poor food supply, just like how we became deficient in iodine because we moved from, Morton salt with, iodized salt to pink Himalayan salt. And iodine is really important for your thyroid. And so we get deficient in these little trace minerals that we just need to replenish. And then all of a sudden our body goes ring and it starts to function again. That's kind of, the whole thing. Oh, okay. So you just can't do it all at once. Perfect. Oh, so you're talking about the probiotic. So that is super interesting. Spread things out for sure, because that is actually, so these are 5 live strains, Shannon. So that's interesting, right? Very interesting. Yep. Just spread them out is what I would do. You can I've even had people do like, okay, I'm going to do a half a scoop with a half of the white powder in the morning, and then the other half of the scoop, and then the other half of the white powder later. And just remember too, don't make it so hard for your body. If you're not grain-free, you're making it harder on your body. Is that the only thing you stop for 30 days? Peggy, that is correct. That is correct. You stop it for 30 days. And I know, see, again, I don't want things to be confusing, but I want you to get the best results. And so therefore, because it's a thermogenic and you just don't want your body to get used to it. So then the 4th month that you purchase the Total Body Reset, you'll just eliminate this one for 1 month, and then you'll go back on it again. I hope that makes sense. You guys are asking really good questions. Yep. Trace minerals are super major important. Yep. And I'll tell you, that's why I even talk about maybe, well, it doesn't matter. I'll just edit my own brain there for just a second, because depending upon what kind of a blend of magnesium you're taking, the one that I have in my line, just look up magnesium. It's a triple blend, but it's It's marine sourced. It is such an amazing triple blend magnesium. But I take mine 1 hour before I go to bed, right around there. And magnesium, when you're doing it proper, like magnesium citrate, that's going to help you poop. That's not the magnesium I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a bisglycinate and a malate, etc. But over 300 functions. And why are we running around and we're all magnesium deficient? I don't know. Like, is it because we eat food with such poor nutritive value? I talk about that. Like I live in Minnesota. So if somebody's got berries right now, well, it's not berry season. We don't get a berry growing in Minnesota till June. So it has been picked and shipped from somewhere. So how much nutrition has been lost between, that, and you understand what I'm saying? So we get deficient in simple trace minerals. So this doesn't have to be rocket science. It can be very simple. We just have to take action. We just have to step in and take action with it. So, yes, Shannon, thank you for saying that. Magnesium must have vitamin D or it won't be absorbed. So within 24 hours of taking your magnesium, grab the vitamin D. The vitamin D is like literally, seriously, like 30 cents a day for 2,000 IUs. It's sourced from mushrooms. It's a phenomenal vitamin D. Like I think it's $29 for a 90-day supply. It's ridiculous. Very, very inexpensive. Very, very potent source. Make sure you're taking your vitamin D within a 24-hour period with your magnesium, because you do want that absorption. Obviously, everybody wants that absorption. So our dirt is depleted. It is. It is. Even in the Bible, they talked about they would they would rest their soil every 7 years. Like there were, God always gave them the best strategies. And we've just gotten away from it because of the Industrial Revolution. And we pound our soil. We're like, produce. And then we have all of this depletion. And because who has time and profits to rest an entire, however many thousands of acres for a summer or for a growing season and not produce anything? It's like, why, nobody's going to do that. Companies aren't going to do that. But it's a good God strategy. I can, Susan. I'll send you a link for the vitamin D. Mm-hmm. Do I suggest intermittent fasting? Such a good question. So I was talking about this yesterday with somebody on the phone, and there are benefits with intermittent fasting. 100%. There are benefits, and autophagy is a real thing, and it can be very helpful. It can be helpful for somebody who's insulin resistant, because then maybe you're eating, in a shorter window. And the whole idea is that you have to stop raising your insulin all the time, right? So you don't want to be eating every 2 hours, because then you're raising your insulin every time you eat. I would say this though, if somebody has like, you feel like you're pretty addicted to food, you feel like you're pretty like my first thought when I started this journey was, I'm not going to trade out my food. I'm Italian. That's not going to happen. And so I don't think that I would have started with intermittent fasting. It doesn't have to be a go-to, because I think that it depends on the person and what you're trying to accomplish, right? First, sometimes people have to actually just get their universe in control, meaning you're assessing, gosh, why am I overeating right now? I eat because I'm stressed. I eat because I'm bored. Oh, that's interesting. Like when I went to that social event, like that sporting event, that really triggered me, because I'm so used to eating so much food when we go there. You're assessing. You have to assess your own world. And then you have to be like, okay, I might not be able to stop my emotional triggers right now, but I can change the fact that I don't have to then pig out on the same kind of food that I used to. And you may be working your way towards better. So I know that sounds like maybe kind of two answers, but I really do feel like there's a customization. I want to make sure that you don't create an opportunity for self-sabotage. And I also want to make sure that you don't create an opportunity for shame. So benefits, absolutely. Is it your first play? Not necessarily. And Also too, what are your propensities? If you are, because once you hit menopause, like female bodies, like if it stresses, if it's a stressor on your body and you're trying to go into too deep of a calorie deficit, you're trying to like, maybe you have had in the past food disorder, things like that. If you're actually like spending time where you're raising your cortisol, then you're just working backwards and it's not helping you at all. So yeah, Susan, I will get that to you. Good to know, right? Good to know. Get you that vitamin D. So we will be back here tomorrow at 11. And again, if anybody wants info, I've got people I'm going to go talk to about the total body reset. I'll get you your information. And even though I'm getting it to you afterwards and we're not live, I will honor exactly what I said, sending you that extra backup of the glucose product. But we'll be back tomorrow at 11, and then I will be gone on Friday because I'm going to go from Minnesota to Orlando, and that's going to be a little bit warmer, like a lot. Like I think we're in the 20s today. I don't know. We'll be in the 80s down there. So, but if you have questions in the meantime, always let me know, right? Hit me up in Messenger, my DMs and Instagram. You can put TBR in the comments below, and I will give you the total body reset information. What you will see there is you will see my stories written out a little tiny bit, a 9-minute video to explain it, some testimonies, just so that you can get an understanding of what I'm even talking about. Because there are so many new people to content all the time. There are new eyes on content. So are you going to give a pint of blood today, Sue? That's amazing. Yikes. Good for you. So Marla, you found yourself unintentionally fasting. Interesting, because maybe you weren't hungry. As numbers came down, food noise quieted, and I no longer eat after my late afternoon meal. This is terrific, Marla. It causes you to fast from 5 p.m. to 10 the next morning. Thank you, Susan. I will. I love that, Marla, because what that tells me is that you're assessing your own body and you're good with it. Because if you force something, like I unintentionally fast because I generally eat when I'm hungry, when I wake up, and that's usually not for a few hours. So it's an unintentional, but I'm not like, oh, I have to pay attention to my food window and I have to pay attention. It's literally just paying attention to my body. And I like that you're saying that because I feel like you want to sign on to have the order filled automatically. Okay, so you want the auto ship. Yeah. And you do not have to have the auto ship, by the way, to get the $75 off every 3 months. It's not required. However, some people want that because they don't want the stress of forgetting and then not getting their $75. And if you are on auto ship, which is, you feel so much better, Marla, that's wonderful. I'm so glad. If you are on auto ship, I take my auto ship people every month. And for 2 years, I pull 2 names and I've sent out 2 free full-size products just to reward, the VIP-ness. And I appreciate people who are just taking, just taking consistency to a different level. I understand what it means to do that. It took me a long time to get there. And so anyway, I just reward you guys for being on auto ships. It's called a Ditto. And if you need help setting it up, I will help you set it up. Yep, I will do that. I'll do it, Shannon. I'll help you. I'll give you a voice message and explain it. And if you need help further, we'll make sure that you get that figured out and get that set up. You can literally set up an auto ship today and have it fired tomorrow. That's what you can do. And it's easy. And every single product can be customized. I think nobody else has this, where you can be like, okay, I want this one every month. I want this one every 3 months. I want this one. Like if you were, I only want 2,000 IUs of vitamin D every day. And that little tiny bottle is going to last me 3 months. You only need it every 3 months. But then something else you need, oh no, I need that gut primer every single month. I need that, the pixie stick every month. Oh, then I need it to take off. And you can look at it from a calendar year point and you can be like 1, 1, 1. Oh, 0 on that month because I'm going to take off 1. So for any of you that are like, you're a green personality, you're melancholy, you like all of that like structure, calendar planning, I got you. Like this is the best system I've ever seen for any kind of an auto ship ever. It's so customizable, and it's great. You want to add aminos? Yep, I love the aminos. I do. And that one is called Muscle Multiplier. If anybody's looking for really good aminos that are sugar-free, but they taste amazing. I get the berry ones. The other flavor is watermelon. It's almost always in my water. And then I use that berry water to mix with my gut primer. So the aminos are amazing. So yeah. All right. I will help you, Shannon. Okay. I'm going to get off and I'm going to go make sure people are getting information that they need, and have a wonderful day. Have a beautiful day. Sun is shining in Minnesota. I hope it's shining where you are. And then I'll see you tomorrow at 11. So arrivederci, people.